Microsoft Access is a database program, and many companies now use database programs to handle their filing and records management rather than manual filing or in addition to manual filing. So we want to complete some of the activities using Access so that you have a basic familiarity with Access. Now, what we're going to do for this chapter is to complete application 4.4 in MindTap, and I'm going to walk you through completing that application, and I'll give you some special instructions for number 4 as far as submitting. So your first step, of course, you're going to be using application 4.2. Now you'll notice I did not assign application 4.2, so you will be getting the names from your textbook, and application 4.2 is on page 82 in your textbook. So you will use your textbook to get the names or the filing segments for this exercise. So the first thing that we have to do is open an Access database, and we're going to create a new database this time, unlike what you did in the last chapter, and we're going to name it 4.4 Customers. Now I'm going to go in and open Access, and when I open Access, one of my options is to create a blank desktop database. So that's what I want to do. And unlike most filing or most programs, Access requires you to name the file when you are actually opening it. So we want to name it, as our instructions told us, 4.4 Customers. Now the other thing that you want to do is to tell the computer where to file it or where to save this file. So if you want to save it on your flash drive, be sure that you click here on this folder and that you navigate to your flash drive. Now I'm simply going to put mine in my documents because I'm working on my laptop, but if you want to store yours elsewhere, just like filing in any other or saving in any other application, you tell the computer where you want to save it, and that location is going to show up here. And you go to Create. Okay, so this is what a blank database looks like, and databases are made up of tables and other objects known as queries and forms that you can work with. So as we go back to our instructions, it says that we want to create a table in the database named Customers. Now you can't do anything in a database until you've gotten started with a table. Tables are the foundation building block for Access. So we want to create a table that we're going to work in, and we're going to call it Customers. So I'm going to go back to Access, and I'm going to go to Create, and I'm going to say that I want to create here a table. Okay, and right now that table is not named, and I had an extra table here. I was going to delete it so that it doesn't confuse you. And it still stayed there. Well, that's okay. All right, so this table is going to be named Customers. And the first thing that I have to do is to set up columns. Now, this is just like Excel or a table in Word. You're going to set up columns that you'll work with. And the way that I set up columns is that I go here to View, and I simply click, and this is where I name my table. It's not going to let me go into what we call Design View until I name my table. And I want to name it, let's be sure it's not Customers. Yes. Want to name it Customers. And I say OK. So now I have my Customers table. Now I'm in what we call Design View, and this is where I actually name my columns. I give them a name and I give them a data type, telling the computer what type of data I'm going to store in them. So the first one, and it tells me what to call my columns or my fields. The first one is ID number. So I go back. ID is already there by default. So I put in number. And it says to give it the data type of auto number, and that's what I've done. So that is complete. The next one is filing segment and then key unit. And all of these are going to have the short text type. So filing segment, key unit, unit 2, 3, 4, and 5 is what I want. And short text is my default. So I don't have to change it. Okay, so we want to be sure that we have all of our fields or columns, the filing segment, key unit, unit 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I have my ID number. Now it says select auto number for the field type for the ID number. That's already done. Short type for all of the others. And then we're going to set ID number as the primary key. Primary key is just a field that's going to have unique data in it. The data will not be the same for any other column. So that little key is right here. I don't have to worry about it. If it were not here, if I wanted to make another column the primary key, I'd just click on that column and click on the key. But I want my ID number to be my primary key. So these are all of my columns. So now I want to go back up right here to View, to Data Sheet View. And yes, I do want to save because I want to save my column headings. And now I have the headings, and it always gives you an extra column if you would like. Alright, so it says enter the names from application 4.2 in the customer table. In the filing segment field, enter the complete name as written. In other fields, enter the data in all capital letters and follow the alphabetic indexing rules that were presented in this chapter. Do not enter the information shown in parentheses after a customer name in the units field. So I'm only going to do a few of these just to get you started. So I go back to my textbook, and the first one is St. Teresa Lutheran Church. So in my filing segment, that is what I'm going to put. Okay, and then I'm going to put my key unit, which in this case is going to be St. Teresa, and then Lutheran and Church. And laptop keyboards are not always the easiest to work on when you've been used to using a regular keyboard. Okay, so St. Teresa's Lutheran Church. Don't worry if all of the fields' name is not showing. It's just because we haven't sized them. Okay, so we go to the next one, and the next name is TTW Trucking. Now it says if there's a name, in this case it's an alternate name, in parentheses we ignore it. So we only want TTW Trucking. So I go back and I go to my filing segment, and notice that it numbered for me automatically. And my key unit is TTW, and unit 2 is Trucking. I go to the next one, Ms. Julia Vanderhay, CRM. So that's how I'm going to enter it. And notice I'm not putting any punctuation. Okay. And with this one, it's going to be Vanderhay, Julia, tab, CRM, and then Ms., because we put professional titles before personal titles. Okay? Let's do one more. Union Workers Federation. So that's going to be the fourth record. And key unit is Union Workers and Federation. Alright, so you would continue that way until you have entered all of the filing segments in the Access database. The next instruction tells you that after you've entered them, sort the records in the customer table in ascending order by the key unit field. And how do I sort them? I want to sort by the key unit field. So these are my sort keys right here. Sort ascending, descending. Ascending is A to Z, descending is Z to A. So I want to sort my key unit field. Now another way that I can do it is to go here to the key unit field and say that I want to sort A to Z. And notice that it is alphabetized for me. 1, 2, 4, and 3. So St. Teresa, TTW, Union, and Vanderhay. Now you have a question, and that question says, does the order of the records in the sorted table match the order of the records sorted manually in application 4.2? If not, how would they differ? And of course, I did not have you complete 4.2, so you will not have to answer that, but I will see that you've sorted correctly when I look at your database. Now, with your database, it tells you to zip it and submit it in MindTap. You will not have to do that. And the nice thing about Access is that you don't have to worry about saving, because as you enter these records, they automatically save. So all that you need to do when you have finished entering all of the filing segments and the units, and you've saved it, well, not saved it, but you've sorted it, all that you have to do is to File and Close. It says, do you want to change, save changes to the design? So evidently I did some design, name of the column or whatever that I didn't save. So always say yes there. And then you're going to go to Blackboard. I'll have a link in Blackboard for you to submit this. So ignore the steps 5, 6, and 7. You will do 4, you'll sort it, but ignore 5, 6, and 7 because you're going to submit the database file in Blackboard. Now to navigate to my database file, I just go to my documents because that's where I had saved it, and you see 44 customers. So this is a file that I would submit in Blackboard. So this is how you will complete application 4.4 for this week's assignment.